Hi, ladies. Welcome to the Feminine Mystery. My name is Azalea Dawn, and on my channel, I talk about femininity, elegance, and leveling up to attract the right masculine provider for the hypergamous relationship that you desire. In this video, we're going to be talking all about dealing with jealous friends after you level up. Because trust me, ladies, this is one thing that it's bound to happen sooner or later. I used to be that girl who I felt like I had the best friends in the world, like this would never happen to me. And then lo and behold, one day on my journey of leveling up, it did happen. I did have those jealous friends. And we're going to start to talk about like why that might be and help you get through it a little bit here with some recommendations at the end. So first and foremost, like, why is this happening? Well, first of all, you being happy can take away another woman's excuse to be miserable. Now, ladies, as they say, misery loves company. And a lot of times in friendships, we don't realize that we can be toxic to each other, right? Like, let's say that we have a group of single friends who are, like they're all getting together because none of them have a man, and they get together and they bash men, they say nasty things about men together. What happens when one of the members of this group of friends, suddenly is in this loving relationship? Right? Suddenly, because she's showing that the change that these other girls want in their lives is in fact possible. It's very confronting when things like this happen for other people, because it's one thing for something to be possible for somebody that we don't really know well, like an Oprah or a Beyonce or some celebrity like Rihanna. It's another thing when it's somebody in our own personal lives. We kind of run out of excuses to not be able to make the change that we want to see in our lives. If it can happen for you, then it's totally possible for this to happen to your friend, and that can be an uncomfortable truth to sit with. So a lot of times, like, we wind up seeing these friends kind of turn on us and make the problem us, make us villains for taking away their excuse to be miserable. Alright, ladies, next up, I'm going to say something that might sound a little bit harsh, but I promise I'm going somewhere with this. And that is that sometimes other people feel inferior because they simply are. Right? So I want to get into this a little bit more to contextualize that, because that can be a little bit of uh really direct honesty there. But let's talk about Jane Goodall for a second here. The reason why I bring her up is because she is one of the first people in the world, as far as research, to show that chimpanzees, right, our nearest ancestors in terms of evolution, chimpanzees had real thoughts, emotions, feelings. And she's famous nowadays for having spent enough time with a young chimpanzee raising it, right, such that these chimps really could like engage in speech using assistance, because they don't have the same structured vocal cords as humans. But it really did illuminate the inner life of a chimpanzee to show that these animals, right, they really do have thoughts, feelings, and emotions similar to what humans experience. And what do we find when we're actually like researching our closest animal relatives, right? What do we find when we analyze the social patterns of chimpanzees, for example, and bonobos even? What are they concerned with? Well, they're intimately concerned with their social hierarchy. They're intimately concerned with the opinions of the other monkeys, right? They are intimately concerned with which monkeys like them, which other monkeys don't like them, which monkeys they're better than, which monkeys they are below in terms of the social hierarchy. That's something that we are able to observe that these animals are concerned with. In humans, we're not far off. If you look at our structures in society, like high school, for instance, we form these same social hierarchies where there are people at the bottom and people at the top. There are the cool kids, the cheerleaders, and the dweebs, the nerds, and the losers, right? Even if you think about something like Mean Girls, where you kind of have that that dominance hierarchy, that social structure on display in a high school environment, that's very much a real lived experience for people. However, there's a shift that happens when you come into the real world of adulthood. Suddenly, it's not about who is a dweeb and a loser in a social context. Suddenly, the social hierarchy is very much real. It's a real lived experience. And now you have the popular girl that has, grown up to be beautiful and married this multimillionaire, lives in a mansion in the Hamptons. Well, maybe this girl that is being nasty towards you is looking at her life and she's with this ugly less than great guy in this messy apartment that looks like, something out of an episode of Hoarders, right? The social hierarchy is very much a real thing, and people are deeply attuned to it on an animal level. It is literally within our DNA to be concerned about something like this, and other people are seeing it even when it's not obvious to you. So it might be the case that you really have ascended above somebody in terms of the social hierarchy, and that is causing them to respond poorly towards you, right? When you are somebody, you're in this loving relationship, you are traveling the world, you are dating affluent men, you really might trigger other people to start to look at themselves in a way that can be very confronting. And ladies, that brings me into my next point here, which is that the best thing you can do for them is to let them go, right? A lot of times we think that we're doing other people a favor by continuing to keep them in our lives, by continuing to keep that friendship going for as long as humanly possible. But the reality is that you have to be honest with yourself that your presence in this person's life is not bringing them joy nor happiness. Maybe you're experiencing all of these things. You might be newly married, off with your fiance on your honeymoon, but you need to understand that watching that is not doing anything positive for this other person, and you need to just simply cut the cord with them a lot of the time, right? And that does involve, grieving a loss at the end of the day. You are ending a relationship with this other person, even if it is just a friendship, and that can be hard to go through. That said, you just have to be honest with yourself that continuing to be in this person's life is not doing them a favor. It's not doing you a favor. It might really just be time to let that relationship go, because you are going to bless somebody with more happiness in their own life by just, ripping the band-aid off and letting the wound heal in open air, right? Just grieve the loss, let the feelings that are associated with that be what they are, and move on from the relationship entirely. Now, ladies, I want to end with a bit of a cautionary tale here to always have the grace to let other people decide what is best for themselves. Now, when we're experiencing, like jealousy in our relationships, it can be tempting to try to pour into other people's cup, to try to bring them up with you, to try to make changes and improve their life so that they're also able to come with you on your journey. But I'm going to talk about why you don't want to be doing that. You need to let other people decide how they want to live and let them be on their own journey. I listened to a podcast where a woman went on, and essentially she was on a missionary trip to Africa. She was a white woman, a rich white woman from America, and she went to a remote village in Africa where the women were essentially being mistreated. She was like, oh, they're being beaten by their husbands, they don't have any money, they're living in these poor conditions, let me help you. And repeatedly, the women of this village would tell her that they did not want her help, they don't want her intervention, they don't want her here. But this woman, this white woman, she insisted again and again and again. And as this white woman is telling the story, she goes on to explain that the outcome, as she continued to try to help them, was that she was viciously poisoned, right? She was expertly poisoned, as she put it, such that she could not move. She was entirely immobile for several days, could not eat, could not sleep, could not drink water. She was on the verge of death, but they did it just enough so that she will live, so that it would be a grave warning from them that they do not want her here, they do not want her intervention, they don't want her help, right? So the moral of the story is that other people, just because you see them as needing help or needing some improvement, that doesn't mean that that's how they see themselves. You have to have the grace to let other people decide what is best for them, what kind of life that they want for themselves. Don't get into the trap of trying to help people, of trying to upgrade them, right? Let people come to you with what they want to come to you with, and ask you if they want you to maybe like help them level up or help them improve. But if that's not what they want, it's very important for you to just have the grace to leave them alone and let them be on their own journey. Alright ladies, that's it for me today. If you've enjoyed this video, then please make sure to leave a like button, a like below, so that this is spread to other like-minded women. And please feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel and subscribe if you like it. Until my next video, I'll see you then.